Ta-da! We're starting today with the famous keyword chart. Are you sick of it yet? Hopefully you find it really helpful, but we've kind of primarily up to this point been focused on the top part of this keyword chart that dealt with just basic math phrases. So again, phrases like 12 divided by the product of 2 times 3. Very math-based wording. Today we're going to look at applying that same idea, writing expressions, but for real-world situations, saying that I am 2 inches taller than my sister. I get paid $5 for every bag of leaves I pick up. Things like that. So again, looking at how we can use those keywords, how we can use operations to define and represent things that are happening in everyday life. So this bottom portion of this chart just shares some of the common words that you might hear in the English language, because we're not really out there talking like math robots. We're not always saying add, subtract, minus. There's kind of words that we use and we throw out there that have implied meaning. So here's just a list of some of them. Again, there are ones for each operation, some for addition, some for subtraction. Notice there are some yellow terms, right? So if you do see any of these, larger than, older than, taller than, again, we're adding, but it also implies we need to switch the order of construction. There's not going to be a ton like that, but it is something to keep in mind. Same with subtraction. There's some ones here that would mean you subtract, but you're more so looking for the word than and from. Remember, we talked about those are keywords that mean you flip. For multiplication and division, we've got a little list of more common terms. So of, each, rate, and per. They're a little less familiar to people. You kind of want to think about multiplication is the repeated addition of the same amount or the same number over and over and over and over. So that's like saying, I'm going to sell roses for $1. And I go into the lunchroom and I'm selling a rose, $1, a rose, another dollar, another dollar, another dollar. And you're adding up every dollar that you make by selling those roses. You're getting paid that same amount over and over and over and over. Things like that. So repeated addition of the same amount or number over and over is also a good indication of multiplication. Division. Here are some words that we more commonly hear in the English language. So equally, separated. I'm going to split the bill with me and my friends. I want to make equal groups so that everybody, if I'm at a basketball tournament, I want to make equal groups so we can all play fair matches. Things like that. So again, this does not encompass every keyword possible. You're more than welcome to add to it as you find more words. But this helps give you kind of a basis of what you're looking for. So let's dive into some examples. All right, so looking at the first example here, we have Vinny ate 7 more chicken nuggets than James. So looking through, you should see the keywords more and than. Now they're kind of a little bit separated here, but more than would be my keywords. If you're familiar with it, great. If not, use your chart. More than would be found right over here. And it is a yellow word, right? So that means that we need to switch construction. So we've got the letter, we've got the number 7, more than, and J. So again, when I'm looking to write my expression, more than means I need to flip it. So Vinny ate 7 more than James, James plus 7. All right, number 2, Joe took half the number of marbles. So we know M is one of our variables we're using. Keyword, half. And if you remember from our keyword chart, half has an implied meaning and operation. So it means that we're going to divide by 2. So what are we going to divide by 2? The number of marbles, which we have here is M. So for number 2 here, we're going to say M divided by 2. You could also write it out using the division sign. Either way is fine. All right, number 3, the difference between Jane's age, which is 55, and Alicia's age, which is 24. So the difference is our keyword here. Hopefully you remember, and if not, go to your keyword chart. Difference means to subtract. What 2 things am I subtracting? Jane's age and Alicia's age. And we know both, so you can just go ahead and write down the numbers. Now, again, I'm looking for an expression. I'm not looking for an answer. Okay, so you're just going to leave it as an expression. Remember, this is a numerical expression. It only contains numbers, but doesn't necessarily mean you have to solve it. All right, the next one here, a class of 30 students was divided into groups of 3 students each. So kind of a little bit more obvious here. It just basically says that we're going to divide. What are we dividing? 30 divided into groups of 3. So 30 divided by 3. And you can use the division sign. Either is fine. The town's population for the next one of 10,000 tripled during the last decade. So 10,000 tripled. If you remember, tripled was one of those green words, right? One of those ones that implied an operation and a number. So tripled means to multiply by 3. What am I multiplying by 3? This town's population. So for this one, we're going to take the population of 10,000 and multiply by 3. Now you want to refrain, do not use the x to show multiplication because again, it looks like a variable x. So we want to make sure that we are showing our multiplication either with a dot or with parentheses, but no x. Very important, guys. All right, so a couple more examples here on this page, same sort of idea. You're going to be taking a look at keywords and using those to represent these scenarios. So the next one says the sum of the length and the width. So sum, hopefully you remember, if not, look at that keyword chart, is to add. So I would be taking my L and my W, my length and my width, and adding them together. Okay, the next one, John has 10 fewer than, and then Alice. John has 10 fewer coins than Alice. Now again, fewer than, it's not going to be on your chart, but it is fewer means smaller, or you're taking things away from it. So we would be subtracting. And because of this word than, okay, we're comparing, okay? 10 fewer coins than who? Than Alice. So we would start with Alice. And again, this would be a yellow one on your chart. A minus 10. I'm going to start with Alice, and we know John has 10 fewer. All right, take a look at the next one. Mandy has 36 cookies. So we start with 36 cookies that she wants to share evenly with her 12 friends. So thinking about this one, sharing something evenly, we go to our keyword chart, or maybe hopefully you just know it. We're going to take it and we're going to split it to our 12 friends. We are looking at the operation of division. Again, you could use a division sign or you can use the fractional bar. Either is fine. The next one, if there were 7 blue cars, 12 red cars, and 5 white cars, write an expression that shows how many there were all together. So here's our keyword here, all together. It tells us we are doing what with our 3 numbers. Hopefully you're with me and said addition. So you would take those 3 numbers and simply add them together. Now again, I'm looking for an expression, not an answer. So it's a numeric expression. You're so probably tempted to solve it, but we don't need to solve it. We just have to write an expression for it. All right, last example here together. So the last one says Joe gets paid $8.25 per hour. Okay, so this one's a little bit more hidden. Sometimes people miss this keyword. We have $8.25. Here's our keyword per, and then hour. So per means to multiply. If you use your chart, or if we think about it in context, you're gonna, so let's say you get a job and you get paid $8.25. You would get $8.25 the first hour, the second hour, $8.25, the third hour, $8.25, $8.25, $8.25. Every time you work an hour, you're gonna get paid $8.25. So see how it's repeated addition? $8.25, $8.25, $8.25, $8.25 for however many hours you work. So the shortcut, again, repeated addition is to multiply. So we would multiply with h. So when you have a number and a variable, you are free to set them right next to each other. That also indicates the operation. What I want you to refrain from, again, is do not use the x. If you'd want to, you could use parentheses, but you by all means don't have to. The number and a variable right next to each other does indicate multiplication. So, all right, so hopefully this is helpful to kind of take a look at how we can use expressions to represent things going on in your everyday life. I'm going to go ahead and flip to the next screen. And here is that keyword chart updated a little bit here with some yellow terms on the bottom. And this idea of that repeated addition is multiplication. So again, I encourage you, if you have a phone, take a picture. It is updated every time we talk. I add a little bit to it, so you can take a picture of this and have it for reference when you're completing your assignment. Or again, as usual, you can find this resource in the resource tab on the Canvas homepage for math. So reach out if you need any help. Good luck.